Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Historic Preservation Commission meeting. It is March 9th, 2026, and we are going to begin the night with roll call.
Megan Ripperger, Tina Conti,
Present.
Damon Jacobson, Josh Imhoff,
Present.
Kamea Edwards,
Present.
Roxy Deer.
Present. All right, staff sent out the approval of minutes for February 9th, 2026. Did everyone receive the minutes?
Yes.
Any questions, corrections, changes you would like to see made in the minutes? Hearing none, I'd call for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the minutes from February 9th, 2026. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. We do have a COA request tonight, the petition of Alan Barry Kramer and Jeffrey L. Bessler, owners and agents requesting a certificate of appropriateness to add a one-story addition to the rear west of a home, a two-story addition toward the north to enlarge the existing kitchen, third bedroom, adding a walk-in closet and possible solar panels on the rear roof of the historic Linden Hill Conservation District at 24 South 21st Street, Richmond, Indiana, in the Urban Residential Zoning District. Commissioners have the packet in front of them. We will start with any questions that you would like to have answered, and then we will go to public commentary. Okay. Can we have the petitioner please join us at the microphone? All right. And will you
Good evening, I'm Barry Kramer. My spouse is Jeff Bessler.
Thank you. All right. Commissioners, if you have questions, if not, Barry, I'll allow you a few minutes to kind of explain the project and why you want to do this.
Okay. Just a brief history of the house first. Jeff and I have been in this house 30 years. It's the only house we lived in the 30 years we've been in Richmond, and it's the only house we've owned. What we're doing, hoping to do to the house is something we could have done 20 years ago had we had opportunity, but we did not. We think the longest person living in the house over its history, aside from us, also lived in the house about 30 years. And that was Verlis Monroe, who was an officer with Second National Bank, a board member of Richmond Schools and of Reed Hospital, and an active member in numerous civic organizations. So just a little bit of interest there. We have always appreciated the features of this house. We began as tenants, and from the first time we peeked through the windows, I liked the house, and I think Jeff did too. We have tried to preserve it and enhance it whenever we could. We've restored the original wood floors. We've done refinishing of doors and other work within the house, other trim. We have invested our own sweat equity in the house, painting, removing old carpet, putting insulation in the attic and some of the walls, improving the landscape to a point of being approached about being a secret garden for the annual art museum event. We've also lived with the deficiencies in this house, primary of which is the kitchen. It is oddly shaped, it is too small, but we have managed. You know, we both enjoy cooking. A nicer kitchen would be nice. But there's no way to do that really without expanding the footprint of the house. That footprint, by the way, would be about less than 20% more than its footprint now. We submitted our plans to you about 3 weeks ago, because that was the time frame to get onto your agenda tonight. And since then, in fact, just a few days ago, last week, we've continued to have conversations with the architect and the general contractor to refine the design issues. We've also met with electrical, plumbing, HVAC, and solar contractors to try to work out details on all of those issues. One of the more pertinent aspects of those conversations, I think, is that the house itself is not a candidate for the solar panels. There is a lack of enough sunlight on the house, and there are installation complications due to unevenly spaced rafters in the attic. There was no uniform standard back then. And the steep pitch on the roof would have required a lift in order to make the installation, so it would have been a lot more expensive. The garage is still a candidate for those panels. Then on the north face of the house, the upstairs expanded bedroom, we anticipate a fireplace against that north wall, and we'd like to install 2 windows on either side of the fireplace that would pretty much be similar to what we have in our living room. The windows would be the same size. They would be similarly situated. So it would add to the visual coherence between the rooms in the house. Our plan is to be as continuous as possible with the current exterior of the features of the house, you know, the roof pitch, the shingles, windows that are consistent with the current window designs, stucco surface, in spite of the fact that that's very difficult to find people to do that work. Continuation of the mid-level horizontal trim around the house, which, if you see it, it's that red piece going around there, continuing that all the way around the house to lend continuity. And we would like to reuse as much interior trim as we have on hand already to, you know, for the new work that we're doing. We hope to maintain the existing paint colors. The demolition will be limited basically to 2 of the frame walls that are the current kitchen walls. They were not part of the original structure, so they are not brick. The only brick that would need to be coming out is that the outside. We envision changing the exterior door on the west, and where a window now is situated, so that would have to be revised a little bit. So limited demolition. We think this is a positive thing for the neighborhood because it keeps the house in good stock. It would be, whenever we move, hopefully it'd be a very marketable house that people would appreciate, want to live in. And we just hope to continue to be good stewards in the meantime.
Out of pure curiosity, who is your general contractor?
Andy Morgan,
Okay, thank you. It's A. Morgan Construction.
A. Morgan, yeah.
Yeah. That's great. It's probably in this packet somewhere, I just couldn't find it.
I have a question. You were saying that where the fireplace would be, you wanted to add 2 windows?
Yes.
And you said that's on the north face of the
Yes.
house?
Yes.
And those windows would be in consistent size and design as what's already on the house?
Yes.
Okay.
They would, there are 3 different styles of windows on the house, even though the sizes don't vary that much, and we've not decided on exactly which one. Some of them have divided lights like this, some have divided lights like this, some have no divides, you know, so.
Depended on who was remodeling at the time. in the
I
industry.
suppose.
President?
Yeah.
Barry, I just want to thank you and Jeff for the thoroughness of this application. I think you two have really done your homework, and you know, I really like this project, and especially the consistency, how you'll keep it consistent with the neighborhood, and you've provided us with a lot of good material to make the decision. So
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that to us.
Yes, you've definitely done your homework.
Well, I enjoyed digging into the history too, but
Yeah.
That's always fascinating.
yeah. Anything else?
Any other questions for the petitioner? I want to second what Josh shared, and I think I've sat through 5 or 6 COAs since I've been on the commission, and this is definitely the most thorough one we've ever received, so I appreciate, I appreciate that. And also that you've chosen to live in a historic neighborhood, respect a historic neighborhood, and respect the historic homes. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Are there other public commentary for this project? Any public commentary against this project? State your name and address.
Hello, Commission members. I'm Jill Nelson. I live at 2039 East Main Street, which is the adjacent property on the corner of South 21st and Main. I am the co-owner of Linden Hill Historic Redevelopment. As you might infer, that was because we started that company by living in this neighborhood. Being involved in the Linden Hill Conservation District has been a major contributor to my choice to reside in this neighborhood for almost 25 years myself. The historic character and integrity of this neighborhood is the sole reason I chose to relocate or move to Richmond in 2001, build my businesses, invest hundreds of thousands in this neighborhood in renovation cost, and continue to reside here today and raise my family, we'll say. The endeavor to ensure this neighborhood's historic assets and integrity is of the utmost importance to me, as you can imagine, as it was when we helped organize this district back in 2007. I am now very opposed. I also wrote a more elaborate letter that I'm not sure if you all got in your packets that I sent over to Monica earlier, with the petition that this is basically a adjoining property originally. So on the history lesson dating back a little bit earlier to the inception is 1890. I know we kind of skipped over the original details, it feels like, in that original narrative. This proposal includes not one, but two additions to this structure that would be inappropriate in scale and harm the 100-year-plus significance of the carriage house to the structure that I live in. As I outlined in that formal opposition statement, if the proposal was passed, it will alter the neighborhood cohesion, specific to their property and to others along the streetscape. The two houses, mine and the property coming for COA, were crafted in tandem. They were built by an elite lumber supplier of the time, Philip W. Smith, which I think was denoted in some of the original application. And the craftsmanship and materials are indicative of this. This is irreplaceable, cannot be replicated in modern construction. To this point, there's lots of national park historic preservation standards that talk about additions, exterior alterations, related new constructions, which all fall under this proposal, not destroying historic materials that characterize the property. New work has to be differentiated from the old and shall be compatible with massing, size, scale, and architectural features, all of which I bring forth as concerns for this project. Also, Standard 10 within that same statute says new additions need to be constructed in such a manner that the essential form and integrity of the historic property be unimpaired if the new work were to be removed in the future. I do not think that this falls under that premise as well, due to the extensive nature, essentially. We've all heard the greenest building is the one that is already built. I also have concerns about significant waste, which will incur inevitably during any type of project of this stature. I understand that the solar panels have become less of an issue, but I did not agree with the solar panel aspect as well, so it's kind of tertiary at this point. Finally, the petitioners, Mr. Kramer and Mr. Bessler, had actively agreed to inclusion in the Linden Hill Conservation District since its inception over 20 years ago. It now seems to be an inconvenience due to their own agenda and wants based on this proposal. We view this, myself and my business partner, as a violation of the common good agreement and overall intent of said conservation district. Once upon a time, they chose to actively be included in this district. We did not originally have them drawn on the map. They came to us and asked to be included in this district. The records would show that if you would like to go back to 2007. It appears their regard has since changed. Therein lies the very underscore of the importance of a conservation district and its charge. This could set a precedent in our neighborhood, which could have negative impacts for years to come. It is my sincere hope and plea that the commission examines this charge set before them and continues to uphold the parameters set forth with the establishment of the conservation district, and therein pursues guidelines moving forward so that when we have these types of COA requests, we have specific neighborhood design guidelines in place, which would make everyone's work here easier. Thank you.
Any additional comments from the public? All right, we will move to the staff report.
The petition of Alan Barry Kramer and Jeffrey L. Bessler, owner and agent, 24 South 21st Street, Richmond, Indiana, 47374. The applicant is requesting approval for the construction of 2 additions to the primary structure and the installation of solar panels on the west side of the garage. The property at 24 South 21st Street was built circa 1900 as a carriage house for the Philip W. Smith residence located north of this property at 2039 East Main Street. According to the owners, the house is listed on Richmond's Historic Registry of Homes primarily because of its association with the Philip W. Smith residence rather than from its unique architectural character. The carriage house was turned into a residence around 1929-1930. The Wayne County Interim Report 2001 also categorizes it as having a C, or contributing rating. According to the report, a C rating was given to properties meeting the basic inventory criterion of being pre-1950, but that are not important enough to stand on their own as individually outstanding or notable. Such resources are important to the density of continuity of the area's historic fabric. There were additions such as a covered front porch and an L-shaped addition on the west rear side of the structure in 1931 when the carriage house became a residence. Public comments. On February 23rd, 2026, 33 adjacent property owners were notified about the COA application and March 9th meeting by mail. On March 2nd, 2025, local media outlets were notified. We received 6 responses. We had 5 in favor. William Engel, 2115 East Main Street, in favor. Steve and Linda Smee, 19 South 21st Street. Jeff and Barry are great neighbors. Everything they have done to their property has only enhanced the neighborhood. Regina and Ryan Kimmel, we are in favor of the addition that is wanting to be done at 24 South 21st Street. Barry and Jeff have been meticulous in maintaining their property. We are confident that the addition will be done in a way that is consistent with the character of the historic home. Robin Henry, in favor, 25 South 21st Street. Appreciate the investment in our neighborhood. Jeff and Sharon Pinson, I am in favor. 29 South 21st Street. We feel the additions to this property are most likely to improve function to the home for the property owners. They have demonstrated being good stewards of the property and feel that they will make appropriate decisions in the aesthetic of the neighborhood. We had 2 opposed. Jeffrey B. Cook, 40 South 21st Street, opposed. Jill and Christopher Nelson, 2039 East Main Street, opposed. Members of the Historic Preservation Commission, I'm writing as the adjacent property owner to 24 South 21st Street. As a point of reference, we are the owners of 2039 East Main Street, which borders the property to the north. Our property is the original main house corresponding to the aforementioned property. The structure at 24 South 21st Street was built as the carriage house to the house we inhabit and own. Since being built in 1890, these structures have seen many iterations and improvements. Since the Linden Hill Conservation District's establishment in 2006, our neighborhood has stabilized significantly. Many of the properties that originally were not included in the district were sold and have been grandfathered into the district. This property is not one of those. The current owners, Mr. Kramer and Mr. Bessler, were the owners at the time of the establishment of the district. They signed and agreed to the terms put forth to the proposal to preserve the character of said district. They are now petitioning to do the opposite. However, the most current proposal, as described, is an exaggerated and overtly egregious use of the structure. We would also like to note that an architectural rendering of the proposed addition would have been helpful to include in the mailing to fully encompass the scale of the project. Per the city's website, a conservation district conserves the distinctive character, heritage, and history of the community for years to come. These attributes of distinctive character, heritage, and history would be in direct conflict with the proposed addition and severe alterations proposed. To this point, I am opposed to the certificate of appropriateness due to the following criterion: erosion of neighborhood cohesion and charm. Conservation districts are established because a group of homes share a unique, harmonious character, be it Victorian, Craftsman, or colonial revival. A significant change, such as a modern, oversized addition or a facade that ignores the local architectural vernacular, acts as an inappropriate alteration that destroys this uniformity. These changes break the visual continuity of the streetscape, transforming a curated historic neighborhood into a disjointed, haphazard collection of buildings. Loss of irreplaceable craftsmanship. Older homes often feature high-quality materials and craftsmanship, such as original hardwood floors, masonry, or unique detailing, that are rarely replicated in modern construction. Significant renovations often involve tearing out these elements, resulting in a loss of historical authenticity that cannot be reversed. Preserving these features is a form of sustainable stewardship, honoring the durability of original materials over the cookie-cutter replacements often used in modern renovations. Environmental incompatibility, the greenest building. Significant destructive remodeling runs counter to the principles of sustainability. The greenest building is the one that's already built. Substantial alterations, especially those requiring demolition, generate significant landfill waste and consume new resources, whereas preserving and carefully maintaining a home utilizes existing embodied energy. A major change often discards structurally sound, energy-efficient, or adaptable designs in favor of new, less durable materials. Violation of the common good agreement. Purchasing a home in a conservation district often comes with the understanding and legal obligation that alterations must adhere to specific design guidelines. These rules exist to give legal weight to the collective desire to protect the area's character. Allowing significant non-conforming changes violates this implicit social contract with neighbors, favoring individual preference over the community's shared vision of protecting architectural heritage. Our district does not have design guidelines in place to pursue a designation of the historic district with the local municipality. I encourage this commission to deny this request and begin to undertake the process of pursuing design guidelines which will aid in any future petitions to significantly alter our conservation district and its properties therein. Thank you for your time and consideration, Jill and Christopher Nelson.
Madam President, may I speak?
Yes.
I just, in regards to what you just read from the opposed party, they had mentioned that it was an historic district. I just want to clarify that it is not a historic district. It is a conservation district, which is very different from a historic district.
In order to become a historic district, that I would encourage the next step, which would be design guidelines.
Yeah.
I'm aware. We have not reached that threshold. Yes.
Just want to make sure it was clear so that way whoever was watching, listening later.
The staff recommends approving the request to allow the two additions to the primary structure, one partially viewable from the right-of-way, and the installation of the solar panels situated on what was the west side of the primary structure's roof and the west-south side of the garage's roof, not within sight of the right-of-way, in Richmond's Linden Hill Conservation District. In accordance with Richmond's Historic Preservation Commission's Rules of Procedure, Article 11, Preservation Criteria, Section 3, criteria for considering visual compatibility within conservation historic districts, the Commission shall examine the following criteria when reviewing a COA application for new construction. Height. The height of the additions will be visually compatible with the adjacent structure. Proportion of building's front facade. The additions will not affect the front facade as they are located at the rear of the structure. Proportion of openings within building. According to the proposed plans, the new windows will match the size of existing windows as best they can. Relationship of solids to voids in front facades. Excuse me. The additions will not affect the solids to voids in relation to the front facade, as again, they are located in the rear of the structure. Rhythm of spacing, buildings on streets. The proposed additions will be joined to the primary structure and not separate. Relationship of materials and texture. The additions will continue the exterior stucco walls that are present, as well as the horizontal architectural molding between the first and second floors, and the paint color will remain the same. Roof shapes. The roof shape will be altered with the addition of the two new sections, but the newer portions will mimic the angle and style of the original building. The entire roof is also being reshingled to match as close as possible the style of an earlier slate roof. Petitioner would also like to add solar panels to the west rear side of the home, which we now are not, and of course the south and west sides of the garage. The solar panels will not be seen visually from the right-of-way. Wall of continuity. The additions will be located again at the rear of the structure. The scale of the building. Petitioners have worked with the contractor to blend the additions in to provide continuity as best they can. Directional expression of the front elevation. Directional expression will not be affected. Written commitments, none.
Thank you, Monica, for the staff report. Commissioners, do you have any remaining questions or?
I do.
Yeah.
Of the petitioners, do you know what percentage of square footage, the overall square footage, the additions would be compared to the existing home?
I think he had mentioned less than 20%.
I think so, but I didn't have
Just
it
to
written down.
verify,
so
yeah, I was
verify.
trying to-
The 20%, I got two, depends on how you do the math. And I looked at the footprint, which incorporated the front porch, which is some additional square footage that is not within the living space of the house. So those two numbers, I think with the porch, it was 17%. Without the porch, it's like 19%. So I told you about 20.
About 20.
Makes sense.
If you want exact square footage numbers, I have a little note in my,
That's okay. I was mostly concerned about kind of the percentage for the general idea of
Yeah.
what the changes would be.
Yeah.
I have one other question, which is from looking at the notes that were in your original request. You talk about in here that there is a section of the house that you believe was added in the 1929, 1930 range that has a flat roof. And from reading this, I'm wanting to clarify that I understand that most of that addition is actually what you're wanting to change and expand on,
yes.
because that was not actually original to the
So that-
1890s.
Yes, that addition was basically an additional 6 feet of space on those.
It's on the north and west side of the
Yes,
building?
Yes, and so that roof, that meets the existing roof line, and it's not absolutely flat, it tapers a little bit, but it's enough to appear flat. So the new roof will be like the roof on the main house, and it will cover that over in a different way. And I will say too, the upstairs roof in that bedroom, if you will, one time called the sleeping porch is what it was called.
Yes.
That headspace is 6.5 feet. And so with the new addition, we'll get 7.5 feet like the rest of the upstairs, or 8 feet or whatever, and then the roof will go up above that. And so it will have an appropriate pitch to it that
That matches
what's there presently will disappear.
What's the timeline on this project? How long do they anticipate it taking?
We're hoping to do it yet this year, and we're hoping to be at the front end of their work.
Yeah,
So we don't know, and we're hustling as best we can to be able to make room for them to be able to work in the house, but, you know, and maybe move out ourselves for a couple months or something. We don't, you know, it's a little bit hectic, but soon.
Jeff, do you have something you want to add to that?
Yes, thank you, Jeff Bessler, the other owner. Just to let you know, we have talked with the contractor and the architect. We are making absolutely every effort to preserve the inside of the house. So we've insisted that they do as little damage, we're not ripping everything out and replacing stuff, that they do absolutely as little damage as possible to the plaster, which is one of the gifts of this house. It hasn't, we had one worker come in, he said, this is incredible plaster work. We've refinished all the old mahogany stained woodwork and stuff like that. We're trying to do it absolutely as minimal. We've insisted that they reuse, when they take out the old stuff, that they save the window frames, you know, and put them back in and reuse them, all that kind of stuff. So we're trying to do absolutely everything we can to utilize and to preserve the house as much as physically and code-wise possible.
Absolutely, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. If you could freeze on that picture, that's the area that has the flat-ish roof.
On the left-hand side.
Yeah, that's on the left-hand side.
Okay.
I'm looking,
I think you're facing east from the west side, roughly looking at that picture, if
Yeah.
I'm correct. Northeast.
okay.
Okay.
I'm all turned around.
Well, if that's the flats.
Go ahead.
Could I just emphasize one thing? It is true our house was originally the carriage house, but it was turned into a house after the Philip W. Smith people had left. We know that historically. And the house now has almost 100 years of its own integrity. And so we're trying to preserve the house as its own, we bought it, and not trying to turn it back to the 1890s or whatever.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions from commissioners? We can entertain a motion, or we can table.
I have an off-record question for staff first.
We are confirming if Tina needs to vote or not, based on, because she lives inside the Linden Hill.
Conservation District. Yeah.
I did not receive a letter, which previously, for other properties, we have received a letter where I've had to recuse myself from discussion, but we did not receive one for this property. Yeah, because we're several blocks away, and we're on the main street, not on a side street. So, okay, just wanted to clarify.
you can
Thank
vote.
you.
Great question, thank you. All right, any additional questions, comments?
If there's no other comments, I'd like to create a motion to approve the COA as presented.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion and a second. Do we need to do a roll call? Monica? Okay.
Tina Conti,
In favor?
Josh Imhoff,
Yay.
Maya Edwards,
In favor?
Roxy Deer.
Yay. Okay, motion, all in favor, motion carries. Anything else we need to do on that? on our end? Okay. All right, motion carries.
And I just want to make a side comment that what Josh mentioned earlier and Roxy agreed that this is an extensive COA, and I wish more homeowners in conservation and historic districts took the time to do their history and research and tried to preserve their homes at the level of which you two have tried over the past 30 years. So I appreciate you.
And I do want to add to Jill's comment that we do need design standards, and until we can put those into place, we don't have anything to uphold. So design standards are a priority for this year's HPC.
Agreed.
Good.
I add one thing?
Absolutely.
Given the city's financial straits and staffing issues and stuff, we were surprised that this particular action did not carry a filing fee of any kind with it.
Add that to our priority.
Yeah, so we're thinking, any little bit helps, it wouldn't have bankrupted us.
Yeah.
But you might consider that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciated.
I looked back at some past cases, and there was no charge on those as well.
Yeah.
All right, commissioners, we do have a few updates that I do want to share with you. I am going to be working with the city staff to update the HPC website, make it more user-friendly so that we can, information that lives on there is something that people can actually use, go to for Resource Center. And then we are also working on social media to have a better social media policy and presence for this commission. Our community continues to talk about historic preservation, historic restoration work, so making that public from the city's perspective is a priority for this group. We have been collecting names for potential new members for this commission, and we will be passing those on to the mayor for his recommendations in the next month. We are also, if everyone knows, we do have a new Indiana landmarks person for our region. So Stevie has been assistant regional director for a while and has moved into the regional director role. So hopefully we'll have her at a meeting very soon. And she is very excited to work with us on some of the conservation district issues, design standards. I spoke with her earlier this month, and those are priorities for her in this area as well. Anything from the commission that they would like to share to the general public? Or any new business you'd like to bring forward?
I think you pretty much covered it.
I do have one thing. R&R, Richmond Neighborhood Restoration, is opening their nominations on Friday for the Good Neighbor Award, which is an award to recognize families who have done work in historic homes over the past year. So if you know anyone, nominations are now open.
Good to know.
Yeah. Our next meeting is scheduled for Monday, April 13th, 2026, right back here in this room at 5:30 PM. I need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
You're watching WGTV Channel 11, part of the Whitewater Community Television family of stations.